What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. With The Falcon and the Winter Soldier being the MCU's next hit TV show on Disney+, fans are eager to see their favorite heroes returning to the small screen this time. We also get to look forward to seeing some bad guys come back and have another crack at taking down the Avengers, most notably Daniel Bruhl as Zemo. But who is Baron Zemo? Why is the purple mask in the trailer such a big deal? Who is this guy? Well, here to catch you up on the top 10 facts you need to know about him, I'm Taylor McWaters. Let's dive in. Number 10, Heinrich Zemo. So if you Google Baron Zemo, you might be a little confused, as these comics often can be. So Heinrich Zemo was the 12th Baron Zemo. And the Baron Zemo is a title of German nobility. So his family served the German Empire and remained loyal in return for Castle Zemo. So he became a scientist and worked along that evil side during World War II, those guys I'm not going to mention. And then he escaped to South America in the modern age to form the Masters of Evil, which is a team of villains created in order to take down the Avengers. And then Helmut Zemo is of course his son, the 13th Baron Zemo, who took over leadership of the Masters of Evil and became one of the leading members of Hydra. And before we go to number 9, if you guys could go ahead and give us a thumbs up on this video, that would be great. They really help us out a lot and our channel. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now back to our list. Number 9, the Thunderbolts. In the time of comics where Onslaught had destroyed the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, Baron Zemo thought that there needs to be a new team out there. So why not rebrand the Master of Evil to just look like the good guys? Not a bad idea. They wanted the cities to think that they were the best team ever so they could achieve even more evil doings. You know, getting tight with all the secrets, all that stuff. So this is something that we're getting close to in Phase 4, and this might be the main plot point in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The government wants their own superheroes now, it seems. With Wyatt Russell joining the MCU as US agent and Batroc the Leaper, played by George St. Pierre, he's also set to return. So with the Avengers busy or off-world or dead, this may be the perfect time for the public to fall for the Thunderbolts trick. Now, we've already met a couple of members in the MCU. I mean, we have Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and we also have the Abomination from the Incredible Hulk. So could we finally be getting a live-action evil team? Let's hope this is at least the start of it. Number 8, family ties. So in the MCU, Zemo is a pretty important piece to a large evil puzzle. So Helmut Zemo is a former colonel with the Sokovian Armed Forces and a commander of the EKO Scorpion, an elite Sokovian paramilitary tactical unit. So when Ultron had attacked, Zemo and his EKO Scorpion squad were sent in to protect the city. So Zemo sent his wife and young son Carl to go and stay with his father until the dust settles. Now, we don't know much about his father at this point. I don't think his father was as bad as his father in the comics. Maybe he is, and maybe we'll find that out in the show, but it doesn't seem like it. Carl, his son, was actually really excited about the Avengers fighting. He was pumped. He got to see them in action. More importantly, he got to see Iron Man flying around. I'm sure that was quite the spectacle. So the dust did eventually settle, and Zemo found the bodies of his family members 2 days later. His dad, wife, and his son Carl. It's really tragic, and the Sokovia incident naturally led into the Sokovian Accords, where superheroes have to register or retire. That was the main plot for Civil War. But Zemo vowed to destroy the Avengers at all costs. Number 7, he's ruthless. So during the events of Civil War, we see Zemo purposely crash his car outside of Vasily Karpov's house. Now, Vasily was one of the former leaders of the Winter Soldier program, and he was now in hiding since Hydra was of course wiped out. He purposely crashed his car and he went to the front door, playing along like he didn't want to go to the police and just, handle this privately. Hey, sorry, I hit your car. I'll pay for the damage. Come on out here, we'll talk. We'll be gentlemen about it. Then when Vasily opened the door, he was rushed by Zemo. And then in the next shot, Vasily is hanging upside down while water fills up a tank about to drown him. Zemo is breaking through walls, and then he finds one of the most powerful books ever. So this ex-Hydra member, who was part of the Winter Soldier program, refused to give Zemo any information about any assassination that took place back in 1991. So Zemo left the tap running, and then he left with this book while Vasily was left to drown in his home, speaking Hail Hydra as his last words. Number 6, he framed Bucky. So after this trip to the ex-Hydra member's house, Zemo now had some information, and his next step was to frame the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes. He framed him so that the world would think Bucky is the one responsible for a bombing, which left the Wakandan king T'Chaka dead. All this just happened to go down at the time of the signing of the Accords, which was perfect. So Tony Stark was all for the Accords. He felt like he was responsible, of course, for the whole Ultron attack, and Steve just wanted freedom. And of course, he wanted to make sure his pal, his buddy, his Bucky is safe. So then Bucky gets arrested and held at the Joint Counter-Terrorist Center building, where he was set to be evaluated by a doctor. Now, the doctor never showed up, but they didn't know that. Secretly, it was Zemo who actually showed up instead of the psychiatrist Theo Broussard. And then out comes this handy little Hydra book that he got earlier. Number 5, the book. So what is this book that Zemo took? Why is it so important? Well, the Winter Soldier book has information regarding the Winter Soldier program, information like, how to open the Siberian Hydra facility, and more importantly, the trigger words to activate the Winter Soldier. Longing, Rusted, 17, Daybreak, Furnace, 9, Benign, Homecoming, 1, and Freight Car. Those words right there caused Bucky to instantly flip while being held in the facility, and then of course trouble followed. Bucky broke out of the holding cage and then he was ready to comply. The fact that he had all these names memorized by now in the MCU makes Zemo pretty much the scariest person in the MCU at this point. He has the most knowledge, he has the most power. It's just up here. Number 4, the purple mask. So in the MCU, we never got to see Zemo don his iconic purple mask, but trailers for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show him sporting it. So in the comics, the helmet's father had created this powerful adhesive named Adhesive X. Now it's been retconned a few times by now, but this mask basically likes to get stuck to their faces. That's the whole thing, which is just an absolute nightmare. If any mask got stuck to my face permanently, I would become a villain, hands down. Oh, I'd be so itchy. So does this mean we can finally see the iconic purple mask get glued onto his face? I really hope so. I hope it's not just a character choice and he's all cool about it. Like he's like, oh, I think blue mask, purple, yeah, purple's good. No, I hope this is like a thing that's personal to him, just like it is in the comic, because then he would be the ultimate Marvel villain and he would look the exact same from the comics, which is just where we're starting to go now. Number 3, the other Winter Soldiers. After the Winter Soldier caused chaos by breaking out, the Avengers ended up fighting each other, with Tony tasked to bring in Steve Rogers and Bucky. Meanwhile, Zemo hopped on a plane. He headed out to Moscow with the intentions of waking up the 5 remaining Winter Soldiers from cryostasis. So he played the voicemail his wife left him before her passing, and then he went in to get the mission done. Of course, using the Winter Soldier book to gain access to the facility, while he was in there, he called for room service so the hotel worker would find the body of the true psychiatrist, and that would spring his final plan into action. He waited for the arrival of Captain America and the Winter Soldier, who were of course being followed by Iron Man. Iron Man at this point knows what's going on. He wants to go and help Steve and Bucky and figure out what's going on with all these Winter Soldiers. So he has this book, he has 5 Winter Soldiers ready to wake up and comply to his will, and Iron Man's on the way. This couldn't have worked out any better, or could it? Number 2, tear the Avengers apart. I lost everyone, Zemo says, and so will you. An empire toppled by its enemies can rise again, but one which crumbles from within, that's dead forever. Those were the words of Zemo as he waited in a bunker for the Super 3 to show up, and when they did, the 5 Winter Soldiers each already had a bullet in them, and they were long gone before they even woke up. So what's going on? So Zemo looked Cap in his slightly green eyes, which Zemo considered a flaw, and told them that he had thought of nothing else but this moment for a long time. And then footage from that Bucky Barnes mission was finally revealed back in the 90s. And it showed Bucky during a mission where he was actually the one to take out Tony's parents that night. So Bucky killed Maria and Howard Stark, and Tony had to watch all of it too. It was an assassination to retrieve other Winter Soldier serums. And now, of course, this sent Tony and Steve into one of the most heartbreaking battles in the MCU, and it ended with Tony taking off Bucky's arm and Cap dropping the shield. So Cap and Iron Man didn't actually meet back up until after Thanos snapped away half of all life. When Tony returned from space, then that's when they saw each other for the first time. To think they were all separated and everything happened pretty much because of Zemo and his perfectly timed master plan is really impressive. And number 1, he's still alive. So while Tony is launching missiles at Bucky, Zemo sneaks off outside where he's met by Black Panther. Now at this point, Zemo is happy, or rather he's content. He's achieved his final goal of separating the Avengers, and he listens to his wife's voicemail for one last time, and when he goes to end his own life with a bullet, Black Panther intervenes and stops it. With his palm too, it's pretty cool. Yeah, so Black Panther stops a bullet with his hand, and then he ensures Zemo that the living are not finished with him yet. He then becomes Everett Ross's prisoner, and when Zemo's asked how it feels to spend all that time, all that effort, just for it to fail, Zemo replies, "Did it?" So last we saw he was locked up, so much so that even if he moved or raised his voice, he would receive an electrical shock. Sebastian Stan said in an interview that both Bucky and him still have a bone to pick with each other, and also with the world. So now we're looking forward to following along with weekly episodes of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier beginning March 19th. Purple mask and all, I think it's time we see the Thunderbolts, and of course more of Baron von Zemo, because he's amazing. He's one of my favorite villains. I'm here for it. Well guys, there you have it. What are some predictions that you guys have going into Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Do you think Zemo will want to take over the world, or do you just think he's trying to get a small scale payback on Bucky Barnes? Let us know in the comments down below, and as always, thank you so much for tuning in to Top 10 Nerd. I'm Taylor McWaters, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.